Hello. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Monte. A little bit about myself. I am a licensed psychotherapist and a Tai Chi instructor and part of the Heart Mind Center. I work with all different sorts of people, from people who struggle with addictions to people who, hello, Kelly and Rachel, hello. I work with schizophrenics. I work with people who have had lots of trauma. So I work with a variety of people, but I heavily incorporate mindfulness and different types of mindfulness, breath work, which we'll be working on tonight, and mantra. We'll go over some real basic mantras, and we'll talk about the mind and what is the mind and how to work with the mind, how to hone the mind, how to help the mind be more effective, how to clear the mind. I mean, generally speaking, one of the biggest obstacles that most of us have to deal with today is just the amount of information that's coming at our minds, right? So we have all this data pouring at us constantly, during our waking hours, and our minds are not so good at dealing with all that information. So it can create a struggle to find a bit of peace of mind and to find some clarity. And through these practices, we'll naturally be able to get to that place of relaxed strength in our minds, which is where we want to be. And that's why we have a tendency to use drugs to get to those places. Only drugs and even this drug, Facebook or whatever. It has a tendency to calm the mind for a bit, but then in the big picture, our mind ends up being more agitated or more depressed. So we get stuck in really unproductive cycles. Hey, Denise. So through these practices that we're going to be working with tonight, this evening, we want to dabble, we want to get used to these productive mind habits and productive mind skills, and work on improving our mental landscape, our cognitive garden. We want to work with our various personalities and try to hone our personalities, because as I'll talk about in a bit, our personalities play a big role in our desire to use substances or use the TV or whatever to find some relief in our minds. Essentially, that's what we're shooting for. Hi, Jay. And breath work is a great way for us to clear our minds naturally. It's an effective technique you can use on your own, and there's basically no downside to it. Through the first type of breath work we'll work with tonight is power breathing. And in that type of exercise, you're going to be strengthening your lungs, which is a great thing to do nowadays. Let's strengthen our lungs. In the world of lung disease, let's make our lungs more powerful and resilient. And in doing so, we also build prana in our body, our body's own healing energy. And this prana is something that Western medicine doesn't even have a word for prana, so they probably will in 5 years, once they catch up. Well, for now, we just have to strengthen our prana on our own. And through this power breathing practice, it's a nice practice because you can actually feel your prana buzzing in your body. So to begin with, let's just do one round of power breathing. And then I'll get more into the philosophy and the basics of how to work to remain balanced and overcome addiction, and how to successfully recover from whatever we need to recover from. You see, because we all have issues, right? We all have challenges, and so if somebody says they don't have issues or don't have challenges, they're either delusional or enlightened. So most of us have issues. Most of us have challenges. And that's one thing I tell my clients too. It's like, we're all in this together. And the more I heal myself, and, the more you heal yourself, the more I heal myself. It's this healing kind of web. And that's what we're trying to do tonight. It's a bunch of us, we're going to be training, and we're going to be moving towards balance, ultimately, and clarity in our minds, and peace in our minds, and psychological and physical wellness. So I'm glad you're here. Let's begin with one round of power breathing. Let me describe it briefly. Breathing in through the mouth, out through the nose. And you want to put more energy into the inhalation. Let the exhalation just be relaxed. And you want the breathing to be graceful and fluid. So don't force it too much. You want to enjoy this practice. So you want to get comfortable. Sit down, lie down. Just feel comfortable and just follow along if you wish. This will be our first round of power breathing. And I should mention that power breathing is a super effective tool at getting out of rumination. If your mind is obsessing on something or ruminating or craving, perhaps, where you're just thinking about it over, the mind is just like going wild in its spinning. Power breathing is a way to just like clear the mind. It clears the mind, it calms the mind, it gives the mind oxygen, or it gives the brain oxygen, and it gives the body prana, or chi. I should also mention I'm a Tai Chi instructor, so I'm into internal energy and just energy in general, but I'll probably touch on that later as well. So let's just go over one round of power breathing right now. Just follow along if you're so inclined. Okay, breathing in through the mouth, out through the nose, then we'll do a breath hold, and I'll just guide you through it. So just follow along. Here we go. Just keep the breathing relaxed. One more breath, breathe in all the way. Exhale 20%, hold. And feel the buzzing in your body. Slowly exhale. Breathing in, hold. And exhale. Nice job. That's one round. Just take note of how your mind feels right now, how your body feels right now. as I mentioned, power breathing is a super valuable psychological skill to use when your mind is off track, when your personality, we all have various personality aspects, right? And different aspects of our personality tend to be dominant. And when some unproductive personality aspects are dominant in our minds, it tends to mess things up because it controls our focus, right? And for example, one of my personality aspects is like the whiny voice, the whiny mind. I'm whining. And I notice that personality aspect tends to show itself like first thing in the morning. If I don't want to get up, I just start like my mind starts whining to itself. And a technique other than power breathing, a technique that I use to get out of the whiny mind, because I don't like using power breathing just immediately in the morning, But a technique I use to shift out of the whiny personality aspect is I just simply repeat the phrase "thank you" in my mind, just a few times. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I'll just notice my body I get up and I'm walking across the room, and suddenly I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful that it could be freezing outside, but it's fairly not freezing in my room. So what I do is I repeat the phrase "thank you" is a technique to shift my personality aspect from whininess to gratitude. You see, so repeating the phrase "thank you" is a super profound practice. Oh, your mind is spinning and ruminating after hours. Solve an issue. Well, yeah, that can be a drag. On the phone, talk. The question is when you get off that phone, does your mind still hold on to that? Because that's the problem, you see. Yes, thank you, Angela. Yes, and if you're curious about the thank you practice, which is a very profound practice, very simple, 100% cognitive practice, right? So easy. It's just repeating a phrase in your mind. Check out the manifesting soundscape. It's our track on our page, and I would suggest trying to listen to it once a day. It's an 11-minute and 11-second musical tutorial about the thank you practice, and it explains it fully, and it's a great way to get that thank you going in your mind. You see, you notice how like a melody can run through your mind and you sing it even when you don't want to, and that's the idea with the thank you practice. So anyway, boom, the thank you practice is a great way to shift that personality aspect. But what I'm suggesting is that the power breathing is another way to shift that personality aspect, especially when it comes to using. If we're struggling with some kind of addiction, for example, sometimes the whiny personality aspect will combine with like the cunning personality aspect, right? The trickster that's trying to like talk you into stuff. It's like, and those two combine, and bam, it's tough to overcome that. But it's not tough, because if we notice these personality aspects emerging and uniting and conversing and dominating our consciousness, we'll notice that Step one is the noticing, mind you. Step one, which is meta-awareness, metacognition, cognition of cognition. It's my cognition is happening here. Wow, 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 wow. Oh, you should use because then blah, 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 wow, wow, and you're like, bam, you notice it. You're like, oh, those personality aspects are alive and well right now. They're rearing up in my consciousness. I want to quiet them down. I'm going to do some power breathing. See? And then you do a set of power breathing. It's like, boom, quiets it down. Or you do 2 sets. Or you do 5 sets and you get really elevated. This stuff will elevate your consciousness. It's better than substances, essentially. And there's no downside to it, right? It's something you can practice every day. That being said, let's try 2 rounds of the power breathing now. And then we're going to go over some other types of breathing. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Let's go through 2 rounds, get comfortable. Lay down, sit down. Remember breathing in through the mouth and out through the nose. Stay relaxed, but you want some power in your inhalation, and the exhalation you just let go. So there's more force in the inhale and the exhale. Just really brief. So you're going to be pounding the oxygen into your system. And you know something? Your brain uses 70% of your resting bodies. If you're just sitting there, your brain is using 70% of your oxygen. So guess what? If we're in the habit of shallow breathing, which a lot of us are in that habit of shallow breathing, we're starving our brain of oxygen. It's not a good thing. But through this power breathing, you're going to be flooding your brain with oxygen. And then during the hold section, there's going to be a message that your brain's going to be like, uh-oh, no more oxygen coming in. And it's like, get rid of all the extra like electricity that's going on. So all these extra little thoughts just go away. And your mind gets very still and just focused. Hence, that's what I'm saying. It quiets down that ruminating mind, you see. So you're taking charge of your thoughts. You're taking charge of your personality. You're going from perhaps the cunning, whining personality aspect into like a more powerful, balanced, maybe the personality aspect of equanimity and clarity and love, essentially. That's where we want to be, you know. As we realize love is the answer, most likely. Let's do 2 rounds. Bring that heart forward as you're breathing as well. Here we go. One more breath, breathe in all the way. Exhale 20%, hold. Feel the prana in your body. Bring the heart forward. Exhaling. Breathe in, hold. Exhale. Good job. Round number 2. graceful breathing, fluid. Let's pick up the pace just a little bit. One more breath. Exhale a little bit. Hold. Let's feel the buzzing. Exhale. Breathe in, hold. Exhale, heart forward. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Take note. How's your mind feeling? Take note. Let's talk about optimal breathing now. As you breathe in. Now this is optimal breathing is something you can use anytime, anywhere, at the office, in the store, at the doctor's office, walking down the street, when you're talking with somebody, when you're having problems with somebody. Optimal breathing, it's a great way to stay balanced. And balance is a big part of recovery. Balance is a huge part of recovery. So at optimal breathing, you want to feel your ribs underneath your armpits expand as you're breathing in, just through your nose. And exhaling. Lengthen the exhalation, end of the exhalation, pulling the stomach in. Squeezing out excess CO2. And breathing in. Ribs expand. Exhaling, lengthening the exhalation. Breathing in, feel the ribs expanding. This is a gentle exercise, optimal breathing. And exhaling, ribs come together. Exhale, lengthen the exhalation. One more optimal breath here. Yeah, and really feel that rib cage underneath your armpits expanding as you're breathing in. Feels really good. You want to keep your ribs loose and fluid and flexible. That's a big deal. Because if we get caught up in too much shallow breathing and our ribs never move, guess what? They can get stuck. We want to stay flexible. That's really a very important key to just strengthening your immune system and just psychological wellness, and keeping your prana strong and vital. Achieving vitality, that's such a big deal, and that's what these practices do, is they create more vitality in our minds and our bodies. It's a place of being relaxed but strong. You see, fluid but empowered. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just say a few thank yous in your mind if that works for you. Again, we're working with cultivating our various personality aspects. We want to grow our plots of empowerment. You know, we want to feel empowered. That's a great personality aspect right there. I'm empowered. You know, let's shrink our plots of, or if I can speak for myself, you know, I want to shrink my plot of whininess. I want to shrink my plot of, you know, cunning, like selfishness, right? I want to grow my plot of love. I want to grow my plot of empowerment. I want to grow my plot of gratitude. And as we all work on this together, just we're interconnected because we're all well, from a superstring theory, consciousness and this is physics. I'll just tie physics into this just for a moment because I love physics. And consciousness, superstring theory talks about everything is strings of energy. Everything. It's I seem solid, my head seems solid, you know, knock, knock, knock. Well, it's really just strings of energy, right? And so my consciousness as well creates strings of energy depending on my thoughts. And I want my consciousness strings of energy to be elevated strings of energy. Rather, you can view the collective strings of energy, human collective, human mind collective. There's a higher level, the elevated level, that's inspired, love, you know, gratitude, all that, creative, open-minded. And then there's the lower level, and that's like fear and anger and disappointment and guilt and depression. And of course, you know, I spend some time down here, but I want to spend most of my time up here. And these practices help me get up there. And when my mind is creating elevated strings of energy, guess what? They go out and they intertwine with other people's elevated strings of energy just throughout the world. Right? That's how we can commune with everybody. That's the collective consciousness right there. And also, if I get stuck in the lower level, my mind is, you know, those strings of energy are probably shorter and more intense, but they connect too with other people's anger and depression. And so we can get stuck in that lower level too. But this power breathing, the optimal breathing, is one way to like bust out of that and into that more elevated mind collective. So that's the marriage of psychology and physics. It's talk about a unified field. That's it. I mean, we're way more powerful. Our minds are way more powerful than we understand. You know, and talk about, you know, if we start working with improving our consciousness, elevating our consciousness, we're just going to notice, we're going to manifest much more elevated things into our lives. And let's all do this together. Let's all work on this together and create a better culture through, it starts with our minds, you see. Kenneth, hi Kenneth. Through the nose now. Yes. So let's take another optimal breath. Feel the ribs expand underneath your armpits. Exhale, lengthening the exhalation. Pulling the stomach in at the end of the exhalation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Repeating that phrase. Breathing in, just bring the heart forward. Exhaling. Now remember, these This optimal breathing is a practice you can do while you're walking into the gas station, you know? And the beautiful thing about life is if you can be in that elevated mind state, optimally breathing, you know, being discerning in your mind rather than judgmental, feeling the spark of God within everybody, perhaps other people feel it. Other people feel it. They're like, so you can help elevate the consciousness of your direct surroundings as well as the collective. You know, you walk into the gas station feeling that way. Other people, like, they might not consciously recognize it, but on some level they're like, oh, they feel a little better. A little better. And just like conversely, if I'm walking into a gas station, if I'm all judgmental towards myself and others, people feel that too. You know, if you look at somebody and judge them, they feel it. They feel it. So let's just put more love into the world, right? We got this, and we're all working together, and we're training together. And thank you for being here. Let's do a couple more rounds. I'm having problems speaking tonight. A couple more rounds of the power breathing. And we'll do 3 rounds this time. The last round, we'll do a little longer of a breath hold. If the breath hold is too long, don't worry, just breathe. Just breathe. This is, you want this practice to be sustainable. So you want to put the right amount of effort into it. Not too much, but not too little, you know. And it's good to try and practice every day or every other day. I mean, as you're practicing, notice how it makes your mind feel. Notice how it makes your body feel. And know that you can access this feeling whenever you want to, whenever you have some alone time, you know. Or just time in front of people who want to do power breathing with you, perhaps, or don't mind you doing it. It's a great practice. It's great practice. I'm so fortunate to have stumbled across it. I use it to heal injuries. I use it to build vitality. I use it to build clarity and psychological wellness. So, that being said, 3 rounds this time. Have fun, sit down, lie down, just get relaxed, get comfy. Don't push the breathing too much either. You want to keep that breathing relaxed, but powerful, right? So just take it easy with the breath. And let's begin. Just follow along if you want to. In through the mouth, out through the nose. One more breath, breathe in all the way. Exhale a little bit, hold. Just feel the buzzing in your body. Slowly exhale. Breathe in, hold. Exhale. Notice how you feel. Round number 2. Let's just pick it up just a little bit. One more breath. Breathe in all the way. Exhale a little bit. Hold. Just feel the buzzing. It's your prana. Exhale. Breathing in, hold. Exhale. Round number 3. Notice how your mind feels. Let's just pick it up a little bit. One more breath, breathe in all the way. Exhale a little bit. Hold. Exhale. Breathe in. And exhale. Notice how you feel. Is your mind relaxed and clear? Were you in touch with your prana? Nice job. Were you able to hold? That was a long hold for insight timer. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So if you couldn't hold that long, that's fine too. It took me a while. I've just been really practicing this type of breath work for a while now. Maybe 6 years, 5 years, 6 years. So you can see how it just clears the mind. And as I mentioned, as far as recovery goes, if our mind is stuck in some place of whining or cunning, or if the personality aspect is just obsessing on something that's unproductive, right? We have the power to quiet it down. We have the power to shift into an empowered personality aspect, a loving personality aspect, where we love ourselves. Ultimately, we can extend that love to all of humanity, which is a beautiful place to be. So let's just take one optimal breath. Feel those ribs expand underneath your armpits as you're breathing in. Remember, in and out through the nose. We'll take a few. And then lengthen the exhale. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen the exhale. Breathing in, ribs expand. Remember, use this type of breathing as much as possible throughout the day. It helps clear the mind. It helps keep the mind relaxed and focused. Bring that heart forward. Thank you all for being here. I'll be here next week. Almost made it. Nice job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, check out the Manifesting Soundscape. Listen to it every day would be my suggestion. It'll assist you. It'll help you to grow that gratitude, the grateful personality aspect. And from my perspective, if we can combine empowered with gratitude, with love, then we're definitely, collectively, we're going to make this world a much better place. And something? We're going to have fun doing it. It's going to be it is a good time. It is a good time. It's getting elevated naturally. Use your breathing. Use your breathing to get to that higher elevated state. Use your thank yous to get to that elevated state. And use your metacognition. That's the witness, your cognition of cognition. Nice job, Beth. Use that. Use your noticing your personality aspect. Notice it, take note. And if this personality aspect is not productive, change it, replace it. Be in charge of that. You got this, we got this. Life is a great adventure, and I'm so grateful for all of you, and I'm so grateful for Insight Timer, and I'm so grateful for our evolving collective, because that's what we're doing. And thank you so much. I'll be here next week, I believe, at the same time. Peace and love to each of you. We got this. We are all in this together. Have a great week. Use these practices. Feel your vitality. Thank you all.